A new dawn for the young prince. The journey to a new land had been nothing short of transformative for Prince Kwaku. As the ship neared the foreign shore, his heart raced with anticipation and uncertainty. This was a land of opportunity, where he was to gather the wisdom and tools necessary to bring progress to his village. Yet, the reality that greeted him was far from the dreams he carried. Chapter 1: Welcome to a New World. The shore bustled with unfamiliar faces and strange sounds. Prince Kwaku stepped off the ship, holding tightly to his small bag, which contained his most precious documents. Within minutes, two seemingly friendly young men approached him. "Let us help you with your luggage," they offered with warm smiles. Relieved to have assistance, Kwaku handed over his bags, only to see them disappear into the crowded streets. Panic set in. Alone and robbed in a foreign land, Kwaku clutched his remaining bag tightly. Suddenly, a man with a kind face appeared. "You look lost, young man. What's happened?" Kwaku hesitated but decided to trust the stranger. After hearing his story, the man introduced himself as John Lubon. "You've had a rough start, but don't worry. You're safe now. Come with me." Chapter 2: Lessons in a New Life. John's home was modest but welcoming. He offered Kwaku tea and listened as the prince recounted his journey. "You've been through a lot," John said. "But you're here for a reason, and we'll make sure you succeed." That night, Kwaku experienced the chill of the cold weather. Wrapped in thick blankets, he realized how different this world was from his warm village. The next morning, John handed him a toothbrush and showed him how to use it. Kwaku laughed, the minty sensation both strange and refreshing. Breakfast was another revelation, prepared by John himself. "Men don't cook where I come from," Kwaku remarked, amazed. John chuckled. "Here, we all do what's needed. Gender doesn't matter." Chapter 3: Navigating the City. Bundled in layers to combat the cold, Kwaku and John set out to process the prince's documents. The bustling city amazed Kwaku, towering buildings, colorful vehicles, and a pace of life so different from his village. At the processing office, Kwaku handed over his documents. The clerks were efficient, and soon everything was in order. John, ever the gracious host, treated Kwaku to a meal at a nearby restaurant. Kwaku's struggles with a fork and knife drew laughter from John. "You'll get used to it," John said, watching as Kwaku eventually resorted to eating with his hands. Chapter 4: First Days at School. The next morning, Kwaku boarded a public bus to his new school. His heart pounded as he stepped onto the bustling campus, filled with students of all backgrounds. Orientation began, and Kwaku was directed to a seat at the back of the class. He noticed the stares, the whispers. Being the only black student in the room made him stand out. He also observed something new: female students everywhere and even female lecturers. It was a concept foreign to his upbringing, yet it filled him with curiosity and respect. After a long day, Kwaku returned to John's home, exhausted but determined. Over dinner, John reassured him. "The first days are always hard. But you'll find your place." Chapter 5: A Rising Star. Over time, Kwaku adapted. His determination and intelligence quickly earned him a reputation among his peers. Students sought his help with assignments, and lecturers noticed his potential. His popularity grew, and with it came respect and friendships. He shared his knowledge freely, driven by the belief that his mission was not just to learn but to bring that knowledge back to his village. As the weeks turned to months, Kwaku began to feel at home in this new world. He had embraced the customs, learned the ways, and made lasting friendships. But in his heart, he never forgot the faces of his family and his people waiting for his return. Resolution: a new purpose. One evening, as Kwaku stared out of the window, the city lights twinkling in the distance, he reflected on how far he had come. He had grown, learned, and transformed, but he knew his journey was far from over. With a renewed sense of purpose, he whispered to himself, "I'll make them proud." This is just the beginning. Kwaku's journey was no longer just about his village, it was about bridging two worlds, bringing hope, and carving a legacy. But what challenges would await him upon his return?